One desperate night, I decided to suicide. Before doing so, I sent a photo of a knife to my best friend, and he replied with, "What are you doing so late with a knife?" And then he falls back asleep. Luckily, I was successful not doing so. Next day, I went to a psychiatrist. After listening to me for a few hours and with few tests, he diagnosed MDD, major depressive disorder. I came home with medicines and a curious mind. I started to research about it. Turned out, the major depressive disorder is the most serious form of depression. Then I started to realize myself how it started and became serious over the years. I took medicines as prescribed and felt like I'm becoming mad. I couldn't continue my regular activities. I slept days and nights. Few days later, the medicine did not work on me. Before suicidal attempt, I sought attention to very few people I felt close to. I wanted to talk about how I felt and what I need from them. I remember once I even begged to a person to talk to. Eventually, I had to isolate myself from the outer world as no one seemed to care. As time passed, I started to realize that if people could treat me as I wanted, my struggle could have been easier. So, I want to say that if your loved one is depressed, don't ask to them about depression. Instead, treat them like a normal people, but with softer tone, sympathy, and understanding. Hug them tight and take them out to a walk and do something that can bring the flavor of childhood. Tell them how valuable they are and meaningful to your life. Alongside my emotional entity, my realistic entity also thought that I needed to make my day more structured and maintain sleep hygiene and force myself doing regular activities. Harmonically doing so, I needed to strengthen my emotional entities first. Recent studies shows that in past 17 months, more than 200 students committed to suicide because of mental health, only just in Bangladesh alone. I started to realize that I'm not alone who is suffering from depression, but I bravely came out to talk about it. Not to mention, but I cannot solve my this problem with a nip or a pill. But every day remains worthwhile even with depression. Suicidal or any other radical activities could solve my problem, but what about the responsibilities that I have on my shoulder or the person who loved me remain behind?